February 21st, 2016. Mark Zuckerberg, the man standing in this photo, is bearing witness to a future he envisioned as a kid, made possible by the technology of the modern day. He is also bearing witness to a future deeply founded in the dreams of researchers, novelists, and reporters, in both creative and technical types. To understand how and why, we're going to have to take a trip back to a truly tubular time, the 90s. As we travel back to the 90s, let's read a short and convenient book excerpt. Imagine a computer environment in which there are no keyboards and mice, where images aren't displayed in front of you, but all around you, where moving your head up, down, or to the side allows you to look at your simulated surroundings. This is virtual reality at its best, a computer-generated universe in which you, the user, step through the looking glass and become a part of the world inside the computer. Jeff Persissi, How Computer Graphics Work, 1994.
ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Jay Shadler, and Sylvia Chase. This is Prime Time.
It was more than 100 years ago that Lewis Carroll wrote about Alice's trip through the looking glass. Now that fiction has become a reality, or you might say a virtual reality, because that's the name of a new computer technology that many believe will revolutionize the way we live. As Jay Shadler explains, virtual reality lets you travel to places you've never been and see things you've never seen and do things you've never done without ever leaving the room.
Look ahead, you're going to be seeing through the windshield. When you look down, you're going to see the gauges and controls of the aircraft. Look out the windows and you're going to see the sides of the wings of the plane. So it's very real.
The technique, as we showed on last week's program, could also be used to remotely control a robot, perhaps in space. And in medicine, the bones of this skeleton hand, produced from real body scanning data, can be studied as they follow the movements of the glove.
Analysts calculate that the virtual reality market, now estimated at less than $90 million a year in consumer sales, will explode into a $6 billion business by the end of the century.
The first Tomorrow's World presenter to look into virtual reality was Maggie back in 1986, when it was thought its first application would be in computer-aided design.
Now, by looking through that window, you're able to see into the world of the computer. And by wearing the helmet, you're able to see it in 3D. So down there's the television I was talking about, with my glass on the top. Move around, and up comes my flash new table. There it is. So everything is in the room just where I said it was.
Since then, a new helmet has been developed, so that the single TV set has been replaced by two liquid crystal screens, one for each eye. Changing images are being generated by computer in direct response to the movements of my head. I'm actually standing in an invisible electromagnetic field being transmitted from up there. Signals from 3 perpendicular receiving coils and a sensor on the helmet here tell the computer where my head is in that field and which direction my head is pointing in.
Its own legs. There's only one problem. It needs your eyes. Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
It's that time again. Let's time travel, and this time into the modern day. But first, a convenient book quote. A narrow beam of any color can be shot out the innards of the computer, up through that fisheye lens, in any direction. Through the use of electronic mirrors inside the computer, this beam is made to sweep back and forth across the lenses of Hero's goggles. By drawing a slightly different image in front of each eye, the image can be made three-dimensional. By changing the image 72 times a second, it could be made to move. By drawing the moving three-dimensional image at the resolution of 2K pixels on a side, it can be as sharp as the eye can perceive. And by pumping stereo digital sound through the little earphones, the moving 3D pictures can have a perfectly realistic soundtrack. So Hero's not actually here at all. He's in a computer-generated universe that his computer is drawing onto his goggles, pumping into his earphones. In the lingo, this imaginary place is known as the metaverse. Hero spends a lot of time in the metaverse. Neil Stephenson, Snow Crash, 1992.
So here's what's special about VR. In all other mediums, your consciousness interprets the medium. In VR, your consciousness is the medium. So the potential for VR is enormous, but where are we now? What is the current state of the art? Well, you're here.
Oh my goodness, these guys are so cool.
Look behind you, Kyra.
Presenting the new Dexmo, exoskeleton that captures the hand motion and lets you physically touch the virtual objects. Dexmo takes immersion to the next level by simulating a real sense of touch. It physically pulls back your fingers to fit the shape of the virtual objects, and it dynamically changes the force applied to simulate their stiffness.
Lighthouse is a modern positional tracking technology that utilizes lasers that sweep across your room. The virtual reality industry is quickly approaching the desires established by popular culture and by works of science fiction. New technologies, such as force feedback gloves, eye tracking, and higher resolution screens, will allow for a level of immersion that was promised back in the 90s. VR is finally demonstrating itself as a sustainable industry. We are learning to tell humanity's stories through VR, which has the potential for tremendous and overwhelming good.
I don't know.